Welcome back to Walsall Fan TV. With this is such a joy. We've had a break from football and a little trip to Kimver, a stroll around Worcester, but now we're back into the footy. And next up, we have Grimsby. We have Jason from View from the Findus podcast. Faithful Grimsby fan, loving the start of the season, just like Walsall, aren't you, Jason?
Very much so, yeah. Both teams high flying. Got a bit of a nosebleed this season. We're not used to being this far up the table. So yeah, it's been a season of ups and downs, but actually it's quite exciting.
And do you know, we've been chatting before we went on air, and I hadn't noticed, but I've just realised that you're a Saddler, so you should be supporting Walsall.
I know it was mentioned on our podcast actually, on Monday that the last name Sadler I should be on your podcast really. I think they were trying to loan me out, but they weren't interested, so I've ended up going back an hours.
Especially loaned out for this preview, so that's perfect guy to be on it really. So where were you expecting Grimsby to be finishing this season? Because on some predictions they had you up very high, didn't they? Where were you thinking before the start of the season?
Lower than the position we are currently is what I would say. We obviously had a really, really tough season last year. You know, we started the season with Paul Hurst. Started average, weren't too bad, but then we went on a really poor run. Went to Doncaster away, a game I went to watch, and we were so poor. And at the end of that game, that was when Hurst got the sack. And then obviously Artell came in again, started quite well. And then we sort of dropped off a cliff. We lost to you guys obviously last season. Was it 6-1, 6-2? It was disastrous.
6-1. That was a crazy game for us. That sort of helped transform our season really. We hadn't been doing that well. And then Douglas James Taylor skinned your centre half and then lashed one in.
Happened on the regular last season, to be honest. Many people skinned our centre halves.
But he's Douglas James Taylor actually has been loaned out to our sister club, Drogheda, in the League of Ireland, and he's rampant over there. He's sort of scored about 10, 12 goals. So I'll be welcoming him back at some point. But we're sort of doing okay as well. So your team transformed from last season?
Massively, yeah, because obviously, like I was saying, sort of, I expected a similar season. I genuinely thought we'd do better, but I didn't expect us to be in 8th place. I mean, last season we only won 2 games away from home all season, and we've already won 3 this year. So after 11 games, so that in itself is somewhat miraculous. And then when you actually look at the teams that were beaten away from home, in Carlisle, who are struggling to be fair, Gillingham, who were top of the table, obviously when we played them, and then Salford in the last game. Actually, we've had some decent away results. So yeah, I'm surprised where we are. I expected sort of bottom third. I think I went as a prediction 13th or 14th this season, but yeah, certainly take where we are at the moment.
Yeah, you've done better away from home than at home in some respects. I want to talk about the game against Doncaster. That was a 3-0 defeat, which you're probably eager to forget, like Walsall's defeat against Fleetwood. Rogers sent off at half time sort of would paint half the picture, but you were already 3-0 down. Doncaster, are they that good, are they?
We're good. We weren't at it, in all fairness, but Doncaster very much were and deserved to be 3-0 up at half time, to be honest. So, yeah, Rogers had a moment of madness where he lost his head and got 2 bookings in the space of 30 seconds. He's obviously came out of the team in the last game due to being suspended. And our centre-half, Doug Tharms, come in, who was brilliant at the weekend. So, yeah, Doncaster definitely looked a cut above. And, they were my pick before the start of the season anyway. And obviously Grimsby's not too far away from Doncaster, so I've got a few friends that are Doncaster fans, so they're making sure that I know about it.
Nice.
But Doncaster were really good. Second half, we didn't concede, which was obviously a bonus, and we were already down to 10. But I think, to be fair, Doncaster took their foot off the gas a little bit in that game in the second half.
Showed out second half. The previous game, the away win 1-0 at Gillingham. Gillingham, they've had some mixed results, haven't they? They've started off well, but a couple of results that perhaps people didn't expect. What did you reckon of Gillingham then?
Well, I was fortunate. I was one of the 283 travelling town fans that went to the game, and it was definitely going with more hope than expectation, to be honest. I didn't expect more than a point, if I'm being honest. I probably didn't even expect that. Gillingham obviously top of the table at the time. Gillingham started really well in that one. They started really, really well, very much on the front foot. And then we grew into the game, and we got a goal. It was a really good worked goal, actually. I think it was about 19 passes in the build-up to us scoring that goal, which I didn't realise on the day. I only saw that afterwards. And really nice move. And our left back, Denver Hume, who got an assist in the previous game, it was pretty much rinse and repeat from the Carlisle game, where he drove into the middle and laid a lovely ball through to Kieran Green, who's probably been one of two that you would argue have been player of the season this year. Slotted it bottom corner. And we were just brilliant. We were so resilient in that game after that. A little bit backs to the wall at times, but you didn't feel like we were going to concede at any point, which is unusual being a Grimsby fan. You're always on the edge of your seat. But on that night, I didn't feel uncomfortable. They had one really good chance. Other than that, they didn't really create anything clear cut.
One player that we've got to mention, and as far as the shutout's concerned, Jackson Smith was at Walsall last season. We were really surprised when he left us because he'd forced his way into the first team, and he looked bang on regular number one for this season. But he took the money effectively to go to Barnsley, which you can't blame him. But then he's obviously loaned out back to League Two. What have you made of Jackson Smith?
So, obviously it's one of those where we've got two keepers, and both have got injured. Two sort of first team keepers, if you like, two keepers, professional keepers. So against Carlisle, we obviously had to put our young 17-year-old lad in the net after Eastwood came off injured. So dipped straight into the loan market and managed in 2 days to sign Jackson Smith. And against Gillingham, he was brilliant. He had some, I don't know if I'm going to call it confidence or arrogance, but a bit of both, if I'm being honest, where he was just coming out to claim the ball on a regular basis, talking really well with the defence, considering he's only had half a training session with the team. And I just really enjoyed his sort of, I don't know how I would describe it, a little bit sort of naughtiness and gamesmanship, if you like, that he possessed in the game. He really slowed the game down when we were 1-0 up against Gillingham. And at one point, he went down claiming he'd lost a contact lens, and we had to spray some water in his eye to try and to get him back up. So I really enjoyed that side of his game. Obviously, against Doncaster, it wasn't so good. He couldn't do anything about their 3 goals, but my disappointment was his kicking was really good against Gillingham. Against Doncaster, his kicking was well off it. But then back against Salford, he made some good saves and again looked and impressed me against Salford. So overall impression, I like him. I think he's going to be, he's been a good addition, and we'll see how long we get to keep him for. I don't think our keeper's back, one of our keepers is back till mid-November, so we'll be probably keeping him for another month at least.
So you're certainly happy to have him there.
Definitely, definitely.
From what we saw of him, he sort of, got lots of confidence. He didn't sort of come out and claim the ball perhaps enough, really. So it'd be interesting because Walsall know him very well. So we'll know his weaknesses, perhaps. So we'll be interesting to see how we cope with that. Just breaking off slightly. Luca Talks Ball as commenting on the show. They've got Grimsby soon. He's looking forward to that. Do you think MK Dons will find their form? Because that's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? The start of the season.
Yeah. I mean, we got quite lucky against MK Dons last year. We got a draw in the away game and then managed to hang on to a home win. And that was when we were pretty terrible as well in that home win. So, but it has been a shock, and certainly around Williamson leaving as well and going to Carlisle was quite a surprise, really. I know it's back up north where he's he sort of he's from, I believe. He was at Newcastle in Gateshead, wasn't he? So
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, it's been a strange one with MK Dons because again, I think there were a lot of fans, sort of bookies' favourites, weren't there, for the league, and they've really, really struggled. So we'll see how they get on now under new stewardship.
Yeah, I think they're going to come good. I think they're going to come good. They're going to be top 7. Whether they'll sort of be able to get top of the tree or not, that's sort of a big ask, I think. But there's so much competition up there in the table at the minute. There's only a couple of points separating the top 12 effectively.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very open this year, don't you? I think it's quite open this year compared to last year. There's a lot of big budgets up that top end that you knew were going to come good, whereas this year it feels a bit more open.
Yeah, well, I think it is still very early. Port Vale just about topping the tree at the minute. Having come down from League One, we expected them to be up there. Doncaster, we expect. Notts County, we expect. Gillingham, we expect.
Yeah.
Walsall, bit of a surprise package, you could say. Barrow, with Wild leaving, people expected them to drop off, but they're holding in there. Bradford, always round and about, normally just miss the playoffs. So hopefully they'll do that again. Crewe, everybody expected Crewe to be struggling, and they're up there. Wimbledon, they were in the playoffs last season. Fleetwood just come down. The game against Fleetwood, I've got to talk. I'm trying not to think about it really, but I'll come to that in a second. And then we got Chesterfield, of course. Chesterfield coming up from the National League, expected to be challenging. The Fleetwood game, that was a joke. That was mad. That was mad.
Was that game where was a sending off in that game, or have I got confused with another game?
We got lost 6-2.
Wow, right. Okay, I missed that. Yeah.
And before that game, we'd only conceded 5 goals in the first 9 games or whatever, 8 games or whatever it was. And Walsall started the game really well, bossing the game, got the lead. And then they picked us apart with an excellent move and got an equaliser. And it sort of completely knocked the stuffing out of us. They then dominated the rest of the first half. And we were going in 1-1. And then just before half-time, Walsall grabbed another goal, bit of a scramble, to get the lead 2-1. And it was like, how are we winning this? And then pretty much first couple of minutes of the second half, we gave away a daft penalty, which was a penalty, and that was the equaliser. And then a couple of minutes after that, they put a ball into the box. Walsall cleared it. One of their strikers landed on top of our keeper, was effectively pinning our keeper down, and they put another shot in, and it just went in the goal. Ref disallows it for a foul on the keeper. The Fleetwood players rush to the ref, and the ref goes, okay, I'll give it, and he gives the goal. Then
some of the standard of refereeing in this league is shocking, though, isn't it? Unfortunately for us.
To be honest, fair play to Fleetwood. They were very clinical. They only had 7 shots all game and scored 6.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I think there's a deflection. One of their guys headed. It was a misplaced header that went off the back of one of their players' heads that looped over the keeper for 4-2. And you just knew at that point it was like was not going to happen. Walsall had a couple of
one of them days.
Yeah, Walsall had a couple of chances that they should have scored, that you would expect them to score, and then just another couple of goals. They picked us apart again for the 5th, and then the 6th. They were just having shots in. They were just happy to have won, really. So it was just got from bad to worse. But
we played Fleetwood the first game of the season away at Fleetwood, and we lost 1-0. And it's one I managed to get to. And to be fair, Fleetwood were just okay. I think it's probably one of those games, season opener, and it's a little bit everyone getting the fitness, getting the minutes, and everyone wasn't really bang at it. But yeah, I didn't think much to Fleetwood, but I didn't think obviously much to us either on that day. So yeah, interesting that they've come on a little bit.
The strange thing is, and that's League Two, I guess, consistency. The game after, they played Bromley, and he had 2 shots the whole game, and drew 0-0. So it's
It's just League Two, isn't it? At the minute.
Consistency is what you need. Want to talk about a couple of strikers. Nathan Lowe for Walsall, on loan from Stoke, been doing very good. 4 goals so far this season. Looking very good. Bright young star. But there's a young star at Grimsby, Luca Barrington, on loan from Brighton. 19-year-old, 3 goals so far. 2 of those come in against
Salford last time out.
Against Salford, wasn't it? Both goals.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Barrington then?
So he's been hit and miss, if I'm being honest. He was playing wide towards the start of the season, so he's playing as a winger. And he looked a little bit out of the games and a bit out of his depth at time, but he is obviously a young lad coming in for his sort of first taste of proper men's football rather than sort of under 21s or whatever. And yeah, he looked a little bit lightweight. David Artell uses the term Bambi on ice for youngsters sometimes, and a little bit like that. But then he has grown and he's been playing in a bit of a different role. And when he's looked at his best, actually, he's played as the number 10 behind behind the striker or behind 2 strikers, depending on what formation we play. And he's looked really good. So he played as a number 10 against Salford, and that's where obviously he got 2 goals. Yeah. And then when he got his other goal for us against Carlisle, he was also playing in the number 10 role. So he's played a bit more central, and he's certainly looked better. He's fast, he's tricky, but sometimes lacks that end product, is what I would say. But again, for a lad of his age, that's sort of the norm and sort of what you expect, especially if we're getting him on loan at League Two. But there's another lad that we've recently got in. I say recently got him. We got him in obviously the first transfer window. Jaden Luca. We've only seen him for 45 minutes in one of the I don't know what it's called now, but the Johnson's Paint, the whatever Carabao, whatever.
The Bristol Street Motors now.
John's. Yeah, whatever it's called. That's it, Bristol Street. Yeah, we've only seen him for 45 minutes in that. He was on loan at Woking last season, but he looks an absolute player, and he was on the bench at the weekend. But he pulled, I think it was his hamstring maybe, but he pulled one of his muscles in the warm-up, and that was it. Obviously, he couldn't play, and it was a real shame because he looked a really handy player in the 45 minutes he played against Lincoln, and he's probably, he really impressed me in that game, so it'd be nice to see him get a few minutes at some point. Yeah. He's just been injured since we signed him, basically.
I think Walsall have got a couple of players in that bracket. Grimsby, quite happy with the depth of the squad for this season, or is that an area that's tight?
Well, I am, but they're all injured. So, we've been really unlucky. We've probably only had, at best case, 19 players fit at any one stage. So, the depth of the squad, we've probably got 23, 24 pros, if you like. A couple of them are first-year pros. So, we've probably got about 24 players on the books, if you like, on pro deals and loan-ins. But, yeah, we've only been able to sort of field, a bare 18, as match day squad of 18, 19, and literally is the bare bones. I mean, our first-year pro, Gardner, he's played quite a few minutes, and you probably wouldn't have expected him to play so many. He's a centre forward / wide, sort of inside forward. And we've got 4 others on the books, including him, 5 others, including him. So you wouldn't have expected to see him so much, but we've seen quite a few minutes out of him because of the amount of injuries we've had. I mean, we signed Jordan Davies from Wrexham, who I'm sure you're aware of. He's really good player. He played 45 minutes. He then played, I think it was 60, and then 45 and 90, and then he got injured in his next game against Notts County, and he's out till sort of end of November. And we're like, it's just rotten luck with some of these players that we've brought in have just picked up injuries and then out for a period of time. Another one, Charles Vernon, has got his obligatory season injury, which sees him out for a long period of time. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, to be honest, Simon. We seem to have picked up a lot of injuries this season.
Yeah, Danny Rose, he's still doing the stuff.
Yeah, good. Top player. Player of the season last season, without a doubt. He was fantastic. He started the season injured, ironically enough, so he missed the first couple of games. But yeah, he's certainly he's impressed. He's impressed me this season so far.
Got you. For Walsall, we've got a very young back three, due to injuries, pretty much. But they've been doing so well. The Priestley Farquharson, that we call the Priest for ease of speech, really. He's one of those that he's a great player, but he's always injured. Played a few games last season, then was out for large periods. Started this season, did really well, and then out injured again. So it's frustrating. But the young back line, the young back three, David Cagboo, Harry Williams, and Taylor Allen have done remarkably well. So the biggest change for Walsall is the right wing back. We had Tommy Knowles there last season, who was excellent, got excellent feet and pace, and got us up the pitch really well, but very little end product. The guy that's replaced him is Connor Barrett from Fylde, and even though he's come from National League, you wouldn't know it. He's definitely a rising star. He's got more assists in the first 10 games for Walsall than both wing backs got the whole of last season.
Wow, yeah, that's an improvement, isn't it? Yeah,
and by a country mile, really, if I'm honest.
What formation do you? So obviously, saying you play three at the back, I'm guessing with wing backs. What formation do you actually tend to play? 3-5-2. Okay.
What you guys doing?
We've been playing 4-4-3-3 basically all season, but we've had a couple against Carlisle. Kieran Green got suspended, and we've only actually got 3 or 4 fit central midfielders, to be honest. So we changed it up against Carlisle away. We played 3 with wing. We played 5-2-1-2 is how I would describe it. So with wing backs, obviously, but that's the only time we played that this season. We have changed into that formation last time out against Salford with 10 minutes to go to try and shore things up, but the rest of the season it's basically been 4-3-3.
Yeah. And David Artell, you're sort of quite happy with him, I'd guess.
Yes. I think there's some Town fans that the jury's still out with Artell. More because of some of the things he came out with last season, and when we were struggling a little bit, some of the stuff that was said, I think, upset a few Grimsby fans. You know, the fact that he was saying we definitely won't go down, and we were right in that dogfight of the relegation battle, I think upset a few Town fans, because it felt like, well, you can say that, but we're not definitely safe. You know, we were 21st, 22nd. At one point, we were 23rd. So it was definitely closer than he cared to let us sort of believe, if you like. But for me, happy with Artell, enjoying the football that he's trying to play. We don't always get it right. I still think we're learning. He talks about he liked evolution rather than revolution, but in the last transfer window, it certainly was more revolution, because we got rid of probably 2/3 of the squad and went again and brought a lot of players in. But the players he's brought in, you can see, sort of want to play the Artell way, good passing football out from the back and pressing high up the pitch. So we've definitely improved under him. Certainly the football we're watching, and also the results, as you can see, was up in 8th place.
That's similar to Walsall, really. Walsall like to sort of press and pass it round, but we're not a team to sort of just pass it round for no reason. Like some teams, they just want to hold on to the ball, but Walsall are quite incisive, and I think we're the top scorers of the division, aren't we? Equal top scorers of the division. So we're scoring plenty of goals, obviously.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting, because we've got the worst our goal difference. We're the only one in the top half of the league that's got a negative goal difference. I don't know if you've noticed.
Well, we had got pretty much one of the best defences in the league until we played Fleetwood.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sort of all went pear-shaped in one game. And to be honest, the 2-2 against Chesterfield, they were 2 calamitous goals to concede. Oh dear. I'm trying to move on from them, to be honest.
Easier said than done, though. I was the same after the Doncaster game.
Yeah, well, I think to concede 6 at home for a team that's generally doing well was just a big shock.
Out of the blue.
It was just a real big shock. And obviously Fleetwood sort of just everything went in for them. Every shot they hit, like the sixth one, he just hit it and it just went through a crowd of players and through the keeper. And people
that
have
was similar.
criticised our keeper, Tommy
Yeah,
Simpkin. He's only a young lad, but he's playing for the England under-20s, and he's been captain
all
in
right.
the England under-20 side. So he's now mugging goal. He's
Yeah.
doing okay, and so, but it was a bit of a gaff of his, the handed Chesterfield a goal.
Yeah.
So that was he's got a bit of proving out to do on that, but I'm sure he's learning from it. It was a pass back, and he picked it up.
Oh wow! Right. Okay.
He called for the ball, and the defender had just caught it with his shin, guiding it back to him, and he picked it up. That was in injury time at the end of the first half. So we were going in 1-0, and they had a free kick on the penalty spot, pretty much, and they scored from that to equalise for going in half-time level.
Yeah,
so
that's the last
was,
thing you need before half time. Just before half time, there's nothing worse than conceding.
That sort of changes the dynamic of the whole game, really. So that was a disappointing one. So because you're home form and you're used to conceding a lot, Walsall generally scoring, so we're 0-0 then.
Probably so. Yeah, be a rubbish game. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we've won 3 at home, and we won 3 away this season so far. So it's been okay. It's been okay. We've only really conceded. We've only lost by 1 goal each game, apart from Notts County, where we got done. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5-1 now. And Doncaster, where we got done 3-0. So, but obviously we've only tended to have won by the odd goal as well. So that's why our goal difference is, the 2 games where we've lost by 3 goals in each game. That's sort of what's hit us a little bit, I guess. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm really looking forward to the game. I'm managing to get to it this weekend, which is good news considering I work in retail. Managing to get to as many games as I've got to, I'm quite fortunate, really.
You're quite happy with that? Yeah, Walsall's goal difference is +7, which is amazing considering they lost a game recently, but by 4. So, but we'd won the previous game 4-0. We beat Colchester 4-0. That was a bit of a weird old game. The first 30 minutes we were awful. Couldn't pass to each other, and then we got the first goal. For the second goal, it was one of those Arsenal goals where about 30 passes, then scored, and it was just mad. It was awesome.
It sounds like 2 teams that are going to want to play football then, from what you're saying around the world, the way that they're playing it. It's the same for us as well this season.
Well, I've got a message here saying, Simon, don't jinx things. Don't jinx us. And then the following comment from Alan Fletcher, hoping for a repeat scoreline of last season at Grimsby. Well,
yeah, definitely don't want that this side. Yeah, certainly don't want that. We can't be doing that again.
I'd be happy with a narrow win for Walsall. But I think if we avoid defeat, I think that's reasonable. But it's one of those, if we want to compete with the top 3, we'll be hoping to get the points.
I mean, Grimsby are very much overdue a draw. In the first 11 games, we've not drawn a game yet. So I would suggest we're probably quite overdue a draw, to be fair. I think this is a bit of a sort of a marker in the sand, if you like, or a bit of a yardstick moment for us, because yes, we've played some good teams this season that are higher in the league. But again, playing a team in 4th position, this sort of, for me, is a moment where we can look and think, right, where we are we actually going to finish it? If we get beat comfortably, then you're like, right, okay, it could well be a mid-table season. But if we manage to put up a good fight, who knows what is possible this season for Grimsby?
Well, you've won 4 out of the last 5, so that's you're coming into it in very good form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, Walsall didn't have a game last Saturday, and the game against Bromley postponed because of international call-ups. So Walsall should be well rested. Let's hope not rusty. That's right then. What we were going to mention gambling, weren't we? We were saying about we have a little flutter occasionally. For those that are not sure about this, I do write books occasionally, and one of them is about gambling. So I've just got the one of the reviews Being the father of 2, I wanted to be in the know, guide my kids with the right information about gambling. No point just saying don't do it, but to explain how it works, how money is lost and made, what is and isn't worth a gamble. Now, that's just good sense. That's what the book gave me. For me, it's money well spent. Well, it's only $1.99 for the ebook. So go and check it out. Gambling Know the Score by me, Simon Ward. Go and get that. But who's your bet, Jason, for top 3 right now? I know it's a bit crazy to ask, but
I think Doncaster will win the league this season. It's who I have actually had a little flutter on this year. I do fancy Doncaster. I'm not just saying that because Grimsby lost 3-0 to them. Genuinely backed it before the start of the season. I think, well, we briefly discussed, didn't we, beforehand? I think that MK Dons will come good. It's just whether they can make up the ground that they've already lost. And I also think Chesterfield might be up there as well. So one of the top 3 that are in there currently. But then having said that, Notts County looked really good when we played them as well. It's quite hard to put a finger on the top 3, but I certainly think Doncaster will be in there.
The thing is, I wasn't impressed with Chesterfield. Some other people that have played Chesterfield were really impressed with them, but I thought they were poor. We were really disappointed not to beat them.
Yeah, we played them, and we were unlucky not to get something out of the game, but they found a way to win. And I think sometimes when you can see a team that somehow finds a way to win when they're not the best, is a team that tends to do quite well, isn't it? So
maybe my judgment is maybe tainted a little bit, but I'm going for a surprise top 3. I think I'm hoping Walsall will make top 3, but I mean, I'm trying to be realistic.
Grimsby is your next one, yeah?
No, Wimbledon. Wimbledon, they've only played 8 games, 16 points.
Yeah.
So they've got 3 games in hand. The games in hand can mess you up, can't they, if they go too much? But Fleetwood have only played 9. So they're 5 points off the top with the 2 games in hand. And obviously we saw what they could do when they're on form. So
it's interesting how neither of us said Port Vale are actually top of the league at the moment as well. That's quite interesting.
Well, Port Vale are a local team to us, so we don't want them.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, you're not going to be saying that one, are you? I guess.
No. Port Vale to go down.
Is it Darren Moore still in charge at Port Vale as well?
Darren Moore, former West Brom player.
Yeah.
He's got Manager of the Month, which is a good thing because that means they'll get beat. So they'll
drop off.
Why is it? I think now that would be a good bet, wouldn't it? Every time somebody gets Manager of the Month, put a bet on for the team to lose.
To lose. Yeah, it does tend to seem to happen that way, doesn't it? Quite often.
Is that a good angle?
Is it in your book? That's the question.
I think maybe I need to update the book and put that in. My book does have some of my my betting and gambling mistakes in there, which I don't like to share, but I mean, it's in the book. So you can have a look in there, and a few funny stories as well from my cricketing days, which is one that's just a private thing for the book. Obviously, I do other books as well, my novels. Time to Click, a little plug. Time to Click is psychological thriller. They'll have anybody crossing their legs. It's quite a tense old crunching thing. But right then, game time. I'm predicting 2-1 Walsall. And what did you go for?
Ever the negative Grimsby fan. I think it's going to be. I've said we're overdue a draw. I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Score draw. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice one, Jason. It's been great talking to you. And find us or Findus
from the Findus. View from the Findus.
Findus as in
It used to be the name of one of our stands, so that's why we called it the View from the Findus.
I've got you. Okay, that makes more. I meant to ask that earlier, but nice one. Right then, let's have a look. Any more comments I missed? This is a cheeky one. If we want to go up, it's the likes of Grimsby we need to be beating. That's not very fair. That's not very polite. Lose Saturday and we could be outside the top 7. How do you think they will react to that? Oh dear.
Right. So, Steve H, I've now got your name. Once we beat you, don't worry, I'll personally message you. Not a problem at all.
Nice one. Good luck for the season, Jace. Nice chatting to you.
Thank you. You too, Simon. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and all that business. Champion. Cheers.
Thank you.
The joy in the past.